Before we get into this video, I wanted to talk about the whole. But number one, I just wanted to say that first of all, that I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan. I love her. I actually love to watch the full games, and not necessarily while they're live, but I do go back and watch the full games. Not every single game, but I don't watch the highlights. I paid to see her twice. I actually get into it and watch and deep dive and watch other games as well. So I wanted to create that proper perspective. But one thing I'm not a fan of, though, is the whole hate on the WNBA. Everyone's jealous. Everyone's hating on her. She was ninth in the WNBA All-Star voting, so there's some media hate because of that. And I'm going to show you stats in this video to indicate that the WNBA is actually being generous. So let's go ahead and get into this video. But first, let's start with the hate from the media. So I'm just going to go through two media personalities, Covino and Rich, and the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Let's start with Covino and Rich first.
That would be like MLB saying, yeah, Aaron Judge is the 18th best outfielder.
It's such a joke. But here's what Dick Vitale said about it today.
Such a joke.
Dick Vitale tweeted out,
What are you doing, WNBA?
it's so obvious that this is out of
That's
jealousy
really funny.
and some sort of hatred because of the path that she's taken.
Okay, so keep in mind that they also admitted in the same show that they don't pay attention, basically. Let's check out this next clip.
You don't care what we have to say about the WNBA, and I don't blame you because it's not like we're the experts, but we do watch the highlights.
Even more
To be fair, Covino and Rich isn't a show I typically listen to a lot, so it's possible that maybe this is what they do all the time is hate. But I typically, I do listen to some of their show, like usually when I'm out of the main people that I like to listen to, or if one of them are on vacation, I use Covino and Rich as a fill-in show when I have nothing better to do. But let's go ahead and get into the stats real quick. All right, so we're going to go over to the stat board. And like I said, I'm not hating at all. This is, one of my favorite players in the league, but I got to go by what the stats say because everyone says she's hated and blah, blah, blah. So this is just the stats for the Fever. If you look at the three players that shoot the most threes on the Fever, one's 49%, one's 37.8%, and one's 29.5%. So player number one, you would think, maybe that's Caitlin Clark. She's the best three-point shooter, right? Well, this one's actually Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull is number 2 in the league in WNBA three-point percentage. The number 2 player is actually, who would you think would be Kelsey Mitchell? Kelsey Mitchell's number 2 on the team in three-point percentage. So she's proven that she's the number 2 most reliable three-point option. And then number 3, of course, well, not of course, I don't want to say of course, but number 3 is actually Caitlin Clark. So the reason I bring this up is not to hate, like I said, but Caitlin Clark is actually a three-point shooter. That's what she's known for, is three-point percentage. But the thing about the WNBA is once you get to the WNBA, it's a pro league. Everyone else can shoot the three-point as well. And everyone else can probably shoot it better. And she's not even the best three-point shooter on her team. So it's not hate to say that she should be number 2 in All-Star voting on her team, according to the players. Because if you look at Aaliyah Boston as well. Aaliyah Boston is number 2 in... Actually, no, I'm sorry. Aaliyah Boston's number 1 in field goal percentage in the entire league. Not three-point percentage, but just field goal percentage. So it's not hate at all, according to the stats. Yeah, so that was from Covino and Rich. Kind of a douchey take, really. Like, it just kind of makes them look like two complete douchebags. I'm a little disappointed because I do like the show. So that makes me actually want to listen to it less because, I just don't like this inciting hate, basically, like, just for no reason when you're not even paying attention. Like, it's just kind of crazy. But let's go ahead and get into the Colin Cowherd take, and I'll react to that.
So I thought this was funny. It's now gotten to a point we have to laugh at it. Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds.
So I just believe that Colin Cowherd he's just misinformed. I do like his show, and he's like one of my go-tos. I do enjoy his takes, and this isn't really far-fetched from the typical take, but he's dead wrong on the WNBA. Like I said, like if you look at these stats right here, these suggest that Caitlin Clark's not the best three-point shooter on the team, to put it lightly. That's the thing that she's known for the most. Now, where she is special, is the three-point range. She shoots like Steph Curry, like from as far as range, but as far as consistency, she was ranked 30th in the WNBA last year, and she's ranked 54th this year at the thing that she apparently does the best. And then if you look at the passing, you can argue that she's one of the best passers in the league, but she still leads the league in turnovers by a wide margin. No one in the WNBA is even close to 3 turnovers a game. So she's over 3. Like I said, she's not bad. I'm not saying that she's bad or anything like that. Obviously, she's really good, but she was special in college. But once you get to the WNBA, you realize that everyone's doing what she does. Like, you got to find another way to impact the game, less turnovers, be more consistent on 3. But, right now, and then Colin did mention that, he was really he was surprised that she was number 2 in player voting. We're not talking about popularity, because Caitlin Clark is by far the most popular player in the history of the WNBA. It's not even close. But we're talking about player voting. Player voting is a very different situation. Player voting, if you look at Aaliyah Boston, for example, Aaliyah Boston is number 2 in field goal percentage in the whole entire league. So, of course, Caitlin Clark is going to finish 2nd. It's still not a bad thing. I mean, the fact that they have her 9th in player voting is for the WNBA, that's not bad. Like, I thought the WNBA hated Caitlin Clark, but if you look at it, 9th in player voting, that's actually not bad. That's actually being pretty generous. But so if you're still watching this video and you're thinking that this is hate, well, so be it. I honestly don't care. But I just wanted to make my case that the WNBA, this is not all hate. I mean, there's definitely some jealousy and probably some hate, like maybe players like Dejanay Carrington, or there's like a few that definitely didn't like her from the beginning, and that's cool. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this is just the stats. That's what the stats say. The stats say that she probably isn't even an all-star. Honestly, now as far as popularity, she's an all-star, but as far as stats, there's other people on the team that has outperformed her this season, and I showed you the stats. I showed you, the fact that she's known for 3-point percentage or 3-point shooting, and she's not the 2nd or 3rd best on the team. That says something right there. So I don't know. I think that she's young. She's a professional. She's going to be great. She's going to be a Hall of Famer. She's going to be very special. But this whole idea that, man, she's number 1 in the league right now and she's the best and she should be number 1 in player voting too. It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense, and it's laughable. And people that think that honestly aren't paying any attention. But my problem is with the media, don't speak on things that you don't know about because you have so much power. Like, this video is not going to get a lot of views, but the video that, like, Colin Cowherd's going to get a lot of views, Covino and Rich, they're going to get a lot of views, and they're influencing people that don't watch. They're influencing people that just pay attention to their show. And so whatever hate that those guys spew, it's going to translate, through that. Like, other people are going to be like, oh, wow, these guys are haters. It's just nonsense. This video disproves it, and there's a lot of other players. Because trust me, the players know. We can't always see every game, but the players are seeing every game. The players are actually going up against Caitlin Clark. And it's funny that Covino and Rich made this one point that they couldn't name 9 players. Well, the logic behind that is, how do you know? So if you can't name 9 other players better than Caitlin Clark, how do you know? Like, if you can't name 9 other players, period, in the WNBA, how do you know that those players aren't better? Like, how do you know how good they are or not? So there's just a lot of flaws in logic with a lot of people in the media, including independent media sources. But anyway, catch you guys in the next video, and peace.